All right, what is going on, everyone? So today I have on Walker, who I've been friends with for quite some time, dating back to the sneaker botting peak days. He's been absolutely crushing it on Walmart with so many people diversifying now, going from Amazon to Walmart and just new Walmart sellers, myself included. I knew he'd be having up some valuable tips for us and anyone else that watches my content. So, Walker, I appreciate you coming on. How have you been, and how's Q4 treating you?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. So far on Walmart, I've definitely seen like quite a bit of a rise in sales.
Mhm.
Definitely not quite at like the insanity of Q4, but I'm sure a lot of Walmart sellers are actually seeing quite a bit of an increase.
Good, good. So I guess now I know you pretty well, but if you could just kind of give a quick introduction to the viewers about yourself and how long you've been selling, and just other platforms you also sell on.
Yeah, so my name is Walker. I've been reselling the last probably 4 years on eBay, Amazon, and Walmart. The last 2 years have been solely pretty much Walmart. And with that, it's definitely been a pretty big game changer. Going on Amazon in the beginning, I think I spent maybe a year selling on Amazon before I got on Walmart. And just noticing in the beginning the lack of competition and just some of the advantages you could do as far as like maybe pricing higher or having things sent in and checked in within like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, kind of a full circle moment here because again, me and you were good friends back in sneaker botting days, and I think myself from sneaker botting and selling shoes, I was kind of going towards Amazon, and then from Amazon, now I've kind of meandered to Walmart since January, mainly because I saw a lot of listings get saturated, and I knew I need to diversify anyways. So it sounds like you're already kind of diversified as well. You're on Amazon and Walmart and eBay. Now, is eBay more so for profit purposes or is it more liquidation purposes? Because for me, eBay has been number one liquidator from like just things that get restricted on Amazon that I get kind of kicked back to. But there's been situations where even though it's been kicked back to me, I still sell for a profit on eBay. So how's the eBay treating you?
Yeah, so I'd say I actually haven't sold super recently on eBay, but like back in the day, I had started using it. I am working to get back on it just because, like you're saying, like some of these returns coming in that can't be resold could definitely still be profitable on eBay. So I actually just ordered a little bit of a lighting kit and backdrop to start getting those listings up.
Right. Yeah, and I think eBay, it's not so restrictive on like brands and stuff. I have seen some things that get I guess, delisted. But for the most part, if you guys are watching, if you have things that get kicked back from Amazon or even Walmart, definitely list them on eBay as opposed to just having them sit there and pile up. Because I think in the last 90 days, I've been actively listing things that get kicked back because I don't know if you know, but there's been a lot of brand that's been gated on Amazon constantly. So I've had nothing else to do with them other than list them on eBay, and it's been going decent for me, especially with Q4. People are buying on eBay as well. All platforms are going up in sales, eBay included. So, okay. So, you kind of went over how you've gotten onto Walmart. So, I guess what compelled you to start an online business on Walmart? Because I know you were selling sneakers. So, how did you meander to Walmart? Because most people go on Amazon from wherever else they were selling just because of the name and everything. But it sounds like you kind of just went straight into selling on scale on Walmart before even Amazon, right?
Yeah, I think maybe my first year on Amazon before Walmart was maybe like 120K total sales. I had a buddy that was doing a lot of retail arbitrage. And so going on Amazon, I was definitely focused on like OA and seeing his like success with RA and then finding out he was on Walmart. I pretty much immediately was like, all right, I need to get this LLC open. I need to get on Walmart and I need to start taking advantage of everything that he's showing me.
Mhm.
And that just led into, one thing to another.
Okay, so that kind of segues well to my next question is if someone wanted to sign up to sell on Walmart, how is that process? And is it pretty a quick vetting process from Walmart side?
Yeah, I think it depends on when you open your EIN. So if you're like me when I signed up, I just had a brand new LLC, new EIN, and I got declined like 2 or 3 times. I just kept opening cases, and they kept declining the cases and all that. And then one day I just I think like 2 weeks later, I got an email saying, "Oh, you're approved. You're ready. You're good to list stuff." So depending on how old the LLC is going to vary your experience, but it is pretty straightforward.
Okay, interesting. I've never really been told about like the longevity of your LLC and EIN and whatnot. My thing was just I thought they look at your sales history in some format. Like I think I want to say Walmart asked me for some sort of proof of sales history, and I remember again this was back in December, but I remember having to send them some sort of sales uh, proof of sales from Amazon, like a snapshot and stuff like that. Did you have to do that at all? Did they ask you
No,
that?
no, I actually just sent them a link to my Amazon store, and that's all they asked for.
I think that's what it was. Yes, that's what it was. It was a link to my Amazon store. So that's where they were able to look at the longevity of it. But okay, so in addition to that, you're saying that it's also your longevity of your EIN and LLC that they also check.
Yeah, I think just for their automatic verification system, if it's still registering with the IRS, then there's a little bit of error there.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I do want to just ask some just curious questions that I have, and just I'm sure a lot of Amazon sellers are watching this. I'm sure they're trying to diversify and transfer over to Walmart. So one question that I haven't really had much experience with on Walmart yet, but maybe you have just because of the bevy of items that you sell. How is the ungate process there? Is it similar to Amazon where you submit invoices? How long does it take, and things of that nature? Can you kind of expound on?
Yeah, so right now, anyone ungating is probably not going to get one done for like, it seems like a month. I'm hearing a lot of feedback that Lego, a lot of these more popular brands aren't getting gated nearly as fast. In
Mhm.
my experience, I was able to get maybe like a 72 hour ungate. If I sent them even a quantity one, I'm hearing like if you go to Walmart, buy something in store quantity one, or even from Target, you can get ungated with that. It doesn't have to be quantity 10.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it can just be any amount of quantity, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's the length, it's the time, especially I guess when you say now, what is it? Because of peak Q4 time that they're so busy that they're behind on their ungate process.
Yeah, and I think they onboarded, I can't remember the exact number, but it was like 250 or 300,000 new sellers, like just within the last 6 months, maybe. So I think within that influx of sellers and applications.
So is it for the ungates? Is it similar again to Amazon where after you sold an X amount of months and they see that you've had history, do they automatically ungate you in certain brands, or are there certain brands where you have to just apply to get approved?
Yeah, I think right now across the board, you just need to apply it. As far as
Okay.
I know, there hasn't been any like auto one gates.
Okay. Yeah. I know all the items that I sell on Walmart, I've never really had to attempt to ungate. I'm trying to think. I know there's some items that will tell me there's that error message, right? And for the most part, I just sell them on Amazon anyways. My process is if I'm merchant fulfilling, which I do merchant fulfill quite a bit, I'll list in multiple platforms like Walmart and Amazon. So if it shows me an error on Walmart, it's not really the end of the day for me because I'm already selling it on Amazon. But I have seen that things like Legos, it can take up to almost 2 months to get ungated. So just FYI, if you're watching, you're trying to get ungated on a brand, just apply ASAP. And what is that ungate? Is there? I think you said email them, right, to actually ungate.
Yeah, you just open up a case, and then I've even noticed they'll give you like a set amount of questions, like where are you buying it from? Are you drop shipping it? Is it like in on hand, whatever? And I've noticed that even if you send them the documents and then like answer all the questions in one email,
Mhm.
it's like the auto response is still going to send you that. So you have to kind of get through like two or three emails before you're actually probably submitted to a real person.
Okay. 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 And then another process I wanted to ask you about was things of like inauthenticity complaints and uh, IP complaints, intellectual property complaints. I've had an intellectual property complaint on Walmart. They just kind of told me it happened. I got the violation, and then I was just banned from selling again. There was no like appeal. I'm sure you could have appealed it, and then maybe you can tell me about that. But has that been an issue for you? Those kind of
I
violations?
Yeah, I really haven't had to deal with many IP like appeals. Most of the times, like if I do get an IP or some sort of error, just a simple case. I guess just opening a simple case, and most of the times it's maybe like a keyword in the listing that's getting flagged. And so if you just
Mhm.
mention that, a lot of times they'll be like, yeah, there's a keyword, removed it, now you're good to go. And then like with the IPs and stuff, where it's really different from Amazon is like there's no account health as of right now. Like there's
Right.
performance, but account health really doesn't exist. So that is just like per listing, and you're not really going to get hit with anything super bad.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of similar to Amazon where I'll give you an example. I was selling, Hims brand. I was selling the Hims brand on Amazon, and they gave me an IP complaint, and they lifted the violation once I appealed it and took the listings off. And then I listed on Walmart, and then it was an agency. Most of these brands hire like a third party enforcement, and they give you the violation. same ones gave me the same violation then subsequently on Walmart. And I go on the listing and it's the brand itself on there. So I think some brands are actively watching on Walmart too now, where I don't know if that was the case as much a year ago, but you're saying that you can appeal it. Is that right?
Yeah,
Well,
so I mean, maybe in that instance it'd be a little different, but I've sold on the same listings that the brands have, and I haven't had much issue. But I'm not going to fight something if it makes sense. At least, if they're not wanting to sell it, then
yeah.
whatever.
So in the case where you do see the brand on there and then you get a IP violation, you'll probably pull your listing as opposed to what you're saying is maybe they have some sort of intellectual issue with the keyword and stuff, but you don't see the brand on there, so you'll appeal and continue selling.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like as far as these kinds of violation, it doesn't give you a real like hard time, but Walmart doesn't really give you a hard time with these inauthenticity to the point where they'll threaten you to deactivate your account.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they will, but the few I've gotten have been resolved with like very quickly, and here's a couple invoices, and maybe it's not even the total amount you sold; it's just 5 units or something, and they've passed it.
I think I don't know if it's Amazon just needs to do better about messaging. Like adding that, or we will deactivate your account after every single warning is just over the top. I think that alone, Walmart, if they don't do that, would just make sellers just less stressed out selling on that platform.
I was gonna say how they display it across the app too, like your Amazon account. I'm not sure Walmart does the same thing. I've seen a few maybe warnings similar, but
Mhm.
it's not displayed constantly.
So speaking of the app, I know there's people have been selling on Walmart for a while. Some of them have early access to an actual Walmart sellers app, right? There's not an actual official Walmart sellers app like there's Amazon, right?
There is one on like I think it's like was it Boot Camp or something. It's a small like beta, and
Okay.
right now I like a lot of the stuff you can do from it is maybe like change your price, and that's a like you can't list from it, and even like some of your sales data that's showing on it is pretty inaccurate. If you compare it to like your online dashboard, like from a website to the app, there is some variance.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised when I came on to Walmart and I didn't see that they had an app. It felt like an archaic moment there where I'm like, it's Walmart. They should probably have an app. But I mean, maybe it saves time for me because I'm not checking the Walmart app anymore. I have just one app I can check constantly, right? But hopefully they have something where they can implement it sooner than later, especially with the amount of sellers coming in. It would make things a lot easier, especially like
Yeah,
communications. Like when you get messages on the Amazon app, it's easier to communicate with customers. Whereas I got to go all the way to my desktop to contact back. Well, I guess I could sign in on like my phone, but that's kind of a pain. Anytime I've gone on the Walmart sellers website on my phone, it's all just jumbled and crazy. So
yeah, and on the beta you can respond to customer messages, so that is a feature too.
okay, so another question for you that's kind of more on personal experience for me on Walmart. So one positive thing, I sell a lot of vitamins on Amazon, and I'm sometimes hesitant, even though I do sell the same vitamins on Walmart. I'm hesitant as much on Walmart because they're allowed to return these kinds of items where people are like it's food related items technically, right? And they still have the same 90-day return policy. So speaking of which, what is your experience with returns on Walmart?
Yeah, I think when I first got on, maybe like a couple years ago, it was pretty terrible, especially if you're doing like FBM and you're shipping it without like signature. A lot of sellers, I think, come on Walmart, buy labels through Walmart, and then assume you have that same protection that Amazon offers,
Mhm.
but they really don't have that. So that pushed me pretty quickly to move like to WFS, where they cover a lot of that. And I mean, at the end of the day, definitely just try to feed out like work out whatever those high returning products are, regardless if they are selling well or not. Like if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
So break down for me there, because so are you saying that if I were to have sent it into WFS, which is Walmart fulfillment system, right? Um, if there is a return, they might cover it. Are you kind of talking about like Amazon's A to Z claim feature,
Yeah,
right?
they've caught like a few fraudulent returns for me. Like one was on like a $300 or $400 like security camera set. They were able to catch that and obviously save me that refund.
Right.
And then also, let's say like lost after delivery. If you don't add insurance or like signature, if you FBM that, like you're not getting any kind of reimbursement.
Okay. So do you have some sort of system in play as far as um, getting reimbursed for returns? Like if you get a return and it was clearly opened and stuff like that, is there a way that you can contact and open a ticket to get reimbursed, or are you saying they will just decline the reimbursement?
So for that, it's a little different. It depends on what the customer selects. And I've had instances where I can't remember the exact like list of covered return reasons,
Mhm.
but I've had them return like something just clearly broken, destroyed, and due to like maybe it was like missing parts or wrong items sent, but clearly sent new, came back like absolutely destroyed, and even with like it being obvious, they had like declined the case. So it has to be within their. I'd have to look, but within their given reason.
Interesting. Okay. So is this how long have you been selling in Walmart? Did you go through Q4 on Walmart last year?
Yeah, I did. I think I got on in November of 2022.
Okay.
So
Okay.
third Q4.
So I asked that because I'm wondering, did you see a huge spike relative to the rest of the year on Walmart?
Yeah, I mean, over the entire year, like compared to Amazon, it is pretty slow, but during
Yeah.
Q4, you do notice like a really sizable increase.
So just a snapshot to people viewing. I sell, I don't sell nearly as much on Walmart as I do on Amazon, but I sell probably, it's going to throw a number out there, probably 50 to 100 units on Walmart. And that's compared to on Amazon, where I'll probably sell 3 times as fast. But the beauty is on Walmart listings, I might be the only seller, or maybe two or three. And let's say I come off the listing, it's not like Amazon where someone else will come on the listing. That listing almost like kind of fades away until someone else hops on. So, can you speak to the, I guess, the number of sellers that you see on a listing? Do you have an average number that you see? Because I know on Amazon, it's likely that you could see a listing that's straight bleeding, like with like 50 plus sellers. I don't necessarily see that as much on Walmart. What's your experience with that?
Yeah, I think right now with all the new sellers kind of going in, one of the categories getting hit the most probably, at least because it's one of my bigger ones, is toys. You
Yeah,
know, before maybe last year, the year before, like 10 to 15 sellers is probably all you're seeing, where now you're like 30 maybe. And then even with the new like Miss Rachel dolls, when they were on Walmart, I
yeah.
think that got up to like 80 sellers, which is probably the highest listing I've seen yet.
Wow. So, if you see 80 sellers and whatnot, I on Walmart, I know. Okay, so let me back up. On Amazon, you have the rotating buy box, right? Amazon will select, the best, what they believe is the best preferred selling price by to the customer. On Walmart, how is it? Do they rotate the buy box? I was told that's not the case. It's usually just the lowest price. What's your experience with that?
Yeah, I think it is usually the lowest price, but there is some like regional aspects to it. But
Yeah.
if that like regional aspect is pretty minimal, I feel like.
Really? So if I'm a customer living in Virginia and the closest Walmart fulfillment center is in Virginia, the listing will show a price of the lowest price of someone selling it back in California. They'll prefer the lowest price despite pretty much anything. Like,
Yeah, from my experience, I haven't really in recent time like ran through and tested the theory,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I have seen that.
So I guess the only downsides of that is it could really lead to a listing just tanking, essentially. If everyone's just trying to match I guess, go penny below the buy box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I just set up I think Flash Pricer right before Q4, and it's just matching buy box or matching a few dollars above depending on what it is, and that's been doing pretty well for me.
Okay.
Obviously, too, a lot of people are maybe moving from Amazon to Walmart, and like
Right.
the volume change is probably going to be so unexpected just because Walmart is like truthfully a wider game. Maybe Amazon you can get a good keep like a couple good keep charts, some seller ramp data, whatever, and go a little deeper. But like with Walmart, like 5 to 10 units for test buys are probably all you need, and until you establish that like sell through, that's all you really want.
Right. Yeah. And then that's okay. So that kind of goes on to my next question here. Tell me about how you evaluate. So on Amazon, I have Profit Protector Pro is what I use for my sales estimator, and then I'm able to check the Keepa graph as well and just see what the sales rank is. Maybe I want to check what the sales rank was 12 months ago, especially with Q4, to see where that price will be come December. How do you evaluate a product in your everyday lifestyle on Amazon, Walmart, and to see if it's profitable?
Yeah, so there's nothing as detailed as Keepa. and like your data is the best data. So what I'll do is maybe base it off verified reviews. If you notice it's got like 20 verified reviews this month, obviously there's some level of volume there.
Mm.
Otherwise, stuff I've noticed that maybe Walmart is clearancing or going out of stock on, that obviously sells pretty well. Or maybe if it's like exclusive to a store. Otherwise, I really haven't seen too many other solid data points. You could always look at Amazon sales or eBay or maybe even Google Trends, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the beauty of me selling on Amazon is I kind of know whatever the demand is on Amazon, more than likely it correlates to Walmart to a certain degree. So you're saying for Walmart, look at the reviews and the number of sellers. If there's multiple sellers on the listing and good reviews, chances are it is selling well. I guess another good indicator that I've also been kind of using is if I see someone in addition also selling WFS, which is the Walmart fulfillment, it must be doing pretty well where they've actually sent it into the warehouse. So that's indicative that maybe the listing is doing good. What say you on that?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Just because there is a lot of seller fulfilled people, and yeah, as soon as you see a little bit of WFS stock, gives you a
Okay.
little bit better idea.
Okay. So as it pertains to WFS, what is that process like when you send it into their warehouse? Right now, I have a prep center, and right now it's seamless one with Amazon, but with Walmart, we do have to create the label within our account and then send them the shipping label. Is that something that you also have to do, or is there something different and a different system that you do?
Yeah, so unless you're willing to give your prep center like some kind of user permission to your account, you'll always probably have to do that. For me, with the prep center, we obviously just coordinate on the sheet. They create the shipment, and then they'll log onto my account and make the label and all that. And I think it's just like a step below admin. They obviously still probably have too much permission because they can still maybe adjust prices or inventory, but that's all you got to work with right now.
Right. And the create shipment on Walmart, it's a little bit more complex, it feels like. There's a lot of questions that you have to answer before actually getting those SKU labels and sending it out. Do you agree with that, or am I just doing it the hard way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about the questions off the top of my head when you're creating WFS shipments and the SKU labels. I never use just because you're just putting the GTIN on it,
Yes,
and I'm not
GT.
sure. Yeah, and I'm not sure that's like an FN SKU as far as like being a unique identifier for the seller.
Okay.
So there's not much of an advantage, I don't think, between the GTIN and just flat out UPC.
So I'm making it harder because
Yeah.
I because I do put the labels on there, and of course, if it's sold as a set, I'll put that sold as set sticker on there. Um, but I haven't sent anything in for a month now. I've still just been merchant fulfilling for the most part. I'm about to send something in, but I recall when I was doing it, maybe it was creating the listing itself. No, it wasn't that. I remember creating the shipment. I just felt like I was going through a pretty long process because there was like documents it asked for. It might be more specific to the products I was selling. Again, it was vitamins. They wanted the MSDS sheet, I believe, and things of that nature. So
Yeah, I don't know. It makes sense that maybe you were converting it to WFS, like getting ready to send it in, and they asked for
yes,
all that information.
yes, that's what it was. The conversion. Yes.
Yeah, so that can be a little bit more complicated.
Okay. So in your Walmart business, what is your most preferred category to sell, and then your least favorite category to sell, and why?
Yeah, so easy one would probably be toys, just because of seasonality and
Okay.
Walmart seems to sell a lot of toys. My least favorite would probably be like anything baby related, baby monitors, whatever. I got some really good clearances for like Walmart to Walmart, and these monitors were maybe like $10 to $20 selling for like $100 to $200, and I swear every single one of them got returned.
Dang. Wow. Yeah, toys, especially like the bigger toys, the pain because you got to find the perfect box for it. If you're merchant fulfilling, at least. I remember last year there was a certain Lego item that, like, literally as soon as I listed it during that December month, it would just fly off. But then, man, I can't remember if my toys return rate during Q4 was that high. I generally don't sell a lot of toys just because, in my experience, I had a high return rate on Amazon. So I stick with like beauty, vitamins, and things of that nature. And but toys, you say is your most favorite. You don't see a high return rate, generally speaking, is what you're saying.
I mean, in January, I'm probably gonna get killed with returns regardless, but I think right now I'm like under. I'd have to look for sure, but I know it's under probably like a 4 or 3% return rate.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, mine is about 3 to 4% overall on Amazon. I don't really check. I know there's that performance tab, and I'm typically pretty good. I mean, everything's over like 90%. But I don't have enough data points for returns on toys as it pertains to Walmart. I think I've only sold maybe 2 or 3 different SKUs of toys. But overall on Walmart, I haven't seen that many returns from what I sell. So that's still a really good sign. Um, okay, so what's your least favorite to sell on Walmart? Is it
The baby monitors for sure.
the baby? Okay, the baby monitor. Okay, so I guess the baby category essentially.
Yeah, anything
Okay.
like that. Electronics can be pretty bad in general.
Yes. Okay. So what? So toys is what you sell the most. What is like the second, third category that you sell?
Maybe like home appliances, coffee makers, stuff like that is probably
Okay.
the runner up.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So and I've seen your content, and if you guys haven't followed Walker, go ahead and do so. He kind of posts what he does every day and how he's going about selling on Walmart. Um, in your day to day, how much time do you spend sourcing, and what's your favorite method to source?
Yeah, so it definitely varies just on the like sales cycle or clearance cycle, but every day definitely load up whatever, anything online, Target, Flip Alert, which is like a nice little 8 to A or 8 to Walmart tool. And
Okay.
then one of my favorite methods of sourcing is definitely retail arbitrage, just because with me, I've had a lot more success getting maybe like kind of exclusive deals at stores or just coming across like higher margin items.
Okay. So what is your split between online and retail arbitrage?
Yeah, I mean, right now with all the sales happening, I'd say I'm doing probably more OA than RA, but that'll probably switch quickly given the Black Friday early sales. I think for Walmart start like the 15th, but I'd say over the course of the year, I'd say probably like 85% RA.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So can you just kind of go through that process? So do you just pick out certain Walmarts you go to? Do you drive out a long distance to Walmarts you haven't hit? How does that work?
Yeah, so depending on like if there's a clearance cycle, you could kind of narrow it down. You could call the store and ask them about what they have, or just pick a route and drive. I'll probably drive 4 hours maybe one way if I'm really going after something.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then of course there's always stores you can hit along the way. Like it doesn't have to always be Walmart. It's a bad habit of mine just to go to Walmart's, but yeah, Ross, Ollie's, tons of better options.
Yeah. No, because I've seen your images of just a bunch of packages you picked up from Walmart. So I was assuming you were just hitting up these WalMarts and just clearing out for the most part, at least.
Yeah, no, and I mean for anyone getting into Walmart, I think Walmart to Walmart clearance is probably going to be a easy one just because they're everywhere.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and I've had some really great runs. I think I've spent like maybe like 5,400 at one store just buying clearance.
Okay. Do they say anything? Or do they deny you to any extent when they see you buying
Um,
too much items?
yeah, sometimes it kind of raises some questions, and obviously, if they bring up anything, you just got to make sure you're respectful. They're probably dealing with people with attitude all day. So as
Yeah.
long as you're respectful and mention, like, hey, like I'll comply, just show me the policy. And then most of the times, if they can't find the policy to like reinforce that with, they'll let it slide as long as you're respectful.
Yeah, I think last year I was going. They had these shoes on sale at Academy around like in the beginning of December. So I live in a pretty urban area, so there's like damn near 3 academies where I live, and I was just going to all of them because they had that hot deal sales tag, and on top of that, they had another like discount. Anyways, I was at one, and I think I had at least 15 pairs of these shoes, different sizes, and I was checking out, and one of the cashiers straight up asked me, "Are you selling these on Amazon?" And I was like, "Yep." I think if I just tell them the truth, they'll just take it and run with it. If I start making up stories, first of all, my face will probably tell if I'm lying anyway. So I just tell them, yeah, I am selling on Amazon, and then just go to the next conversation. Rather
Yeah,
starting to make up stories and stuff. That's just the right way to go about it. And of course, like you were saying, just be respectful and keep it moving.
yeah, absolutely. I not too many times have I had super big scenes over being a reseller at a store.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never had issues, but I have had. This is multiple times. This is one scenario, but I've had multiple people just ask me straight up, are you selling these on Amazon? And I got to a point where I was just like, yep. um, okay. So, what is your most effective sourcing method? Would you say it's RA, or would you say it's doing OA over time during the year? I know during this time you're doing more OA because of the plethora of sales, but overall, what's your favorite sourcing method?
Yeah, I definitely, just because it gets me out of the house, and there is something to maybe have or to know about, like, okay, well, I went to 30 targets, they've had this item maybe stocked once or twice. You can kind of see maybe stocking issues or scarcity that way. But I definitely, obviously, there's no wrong or right way to do it.
So when you are doing online arbitrage, how are you sourcing? Is it like manual sourcing? Do you use a software or?
Yeah, so Keep It Deals is a good one just to check daily as a landing page. Flip Alert is another nice one just to kind of get like a more filtered Keepa version, like a item list.
Isn't that's A2A, isn't it?
Yeah, but a lot of the stuff, depending on what you're looking at,
Mhm.
can be on Walmart, and they have a Walmart like buy box feature, so you'll see Amazon buy box and Walmart buy box next to it.
So on Walmart, is it kind of similar the A2A concept with Amazon? Are you buying it off like a non-prime Walmart account and whatnot?
Right now, at least with their Plus membership policies,
Plus, yeah.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not as strict with Prime where they're like you can't resell it. It's more of like a per instance basis. So
Mhm.
like you're not going to get banned for using Plus to buy anything, and they even have like a business Plus that you can get. So
Do you have Business Plus? Or what's the benefits of that over a regular Plus?
yeah, so like Business Plus, I think the biggest one is you get 2% on. I think you get 2% back for your spend.
Oh,
So
damn. Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I guess I never saw it. I've always had Plus just because they're they probably have the most competitive delivering fees for groceries and stuff. So I've always had Plus. I never thought about it until someone did mention that it is. I'm not sure the validity of this, but they were saying that there's some gray area of using that Walmart Plus account to buy something and then selling it back on Walmart. But you're saying in your case it's not really enforced or even against policy.
yeah. I mean, I haven't run into any issues with it, and obviously they could always make that take that out of the gray area and make it something you can't do. But as of right now, from the way the policy sits, I think you're pretty safe.
Okay. So, as it pertains to Walmart, I generally use Martyr for my sales estimator. I'm not sure if there's that many out there, but Martyr has really nice UI. While for Amazon, I use Buybot Pro. So, for you, what are some tools and softwares that you think someone watching this video would benefit from? Anything ranging from like sales estimators, repricers, bookkeeping, whatnot.
Yeah, Martyr is definitely a cheap option. That's nice for RA. I will say, like, obviously, probably never use the sales estimates of any tool.
Right.
Sellify is a good like OA tool. It kind of loads like maybe like Ace and Zen or something, or RevSeller, kind of a similar feel.
Mhm.
Um, and then Flash Pricer right now is a pretty solid one for Walmart. I had Informed for quite a bit of time, and it just didn't do well. And then for like accounting or bookkeeping, it gets really messy. Right now, I have an admin that does a lot of like my more like in-depth accounting for what the WFS fees are and and my profit loss that way. And then I have another like stateside accountant that's doing my like cash in, cash out accounting.
Okay. Yeah. So for those that are new on Walmart or haven't sold on it, Walmart doesn't really give a seller's ranking, so you can't typically see what the sales estimated are based on their data. You're kind of like Walker was attributing to look at the reviews and seller count because there's no other way to do it. And I think Martyr just has their own algorithm that they use based on their data points of reviews and sellers, I would imagine, to provide a sales estimator because they do provide a sales estimator. How much you give credence to that data point is up to you. I think for me, again, it's been trial and error. And trial and error is kind of easy for me because there's not much risk there because I'm really selling it on Amazon, but I'm listing it on Walmart too. But there is a little bit of risk, I think, to testing it on WFS because I did send a X amount of units into WFS. Nothing really sold, even though I was selling it pretty well merchant fulfilled. And I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and send it to the warehouse. I send, 40, 50 units into the warehouse, nothing sold, but it was because someone jumped on the listing and was kind of undercutting me. But I let it sit there, and after all, they all did get sold pretty quickly. But at the end of the day, right now, it is trial and error until they maybe develop a sales ranking. But from the fact that they don't even have a Walmart sellers app yet, I'm not sure when that's going to come about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So before you started really selling on Walmart, how did you obtain information to selling on Walmart? Was it? I know you had mentioned you had a friend that you were kind of getting this information. Did you buy a course or did you look into guides or anything like that?
Yeah, I got really lucky. My buddy that basically kind of coached me and taught me everything about Walmart. I think he had done like 1.5 million that year on Walmart.
Oh wow.
So I kind of
Last year?
got, yeah, last year, and I think this year, maybe he's like 2 mil or something. So he's
Okay.
doing really well. So as a new seller and getting that kind of guidance,
Mm,
obviously was the difference between excelling right away and not.
right.
Um, I see obviously a ton of Walmart people kind of hitting the market now, teaching about it. And I mean, usually Amazon information is more like widely available on YouTube,
Yeah.
and being like Walmart's basically based on your experience. Like I could definitely see the appeal of paying for a coaching or maybe a course of someone that is in the, doing at least 7 figures a year.
Yeah, right now, again, I didn't buy a course or anything. It was simply from the fact that I already had experience selling on Amazon. So I think if you are watching and you don't know you haven't yet sold on Walmart, for those kind of viewers, what would you recommend they go off of to obtain this kind of information to sell on Walmart?
Yeah, kind of like what you're mentioning, like if they have the option of selling on Amazon too, like seller fulfilling it and just listing in both places, like that's a huge advantage. Like I'm not
Mm,
selling much on Amazon, so I don't have that, like, I can't do that.
mm,
But yeah, I would definitely just use every outside data point you can, whether that's TikTok or just Google Trend, like even if it's something kind of minor,
mm.
maybe that can all add up to something.
Yeah, I think what's your take on this based on the influx of sellers now? And this is kind of my premise here. I'm projecting in 2025, maybe 2026, there's going to be a such an influx that listings are going to start getting oversaturated. Maybe not similar to what we see on Amazon. That really is dependent on if Walmart starts booming in their selling platform and actually competes with Amazon. But what do you see in the future as far as saturation on Walmart?
Yeah, I mean, obviously can't dispute that it's already happening, especially from 2 years ago where, for instance, there was like a 20-inch Gengar Pokemon Squishmallow that released. I
Yeah.
listed that thing right away, day of release. I was like the only one selling it for a couple hours.
Uh,
Where now, it'd probably be 20, 30 people. I think it's just it is what it is. People are going to come to the marketplace. If Walmart doesn't step up and get more eyes on their website, then obviously it's going to be an issue. So the only thing you can really hope for is that it'll grow with the marketplace. But otherwise, I mean, it seems like nowadays there's so many great options of like incomes or side hustles or whatever. And
yeah.
especially because I think what TikTok Shop is doing like affiliates now for Amazon, Walmart, and like
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah. I think right now, it just with the lack of better words, selling on Walmart just isn't sexy as Amazon. I think it's like you see so much of these influencers that will champion selling on Amazon, made them X amount of dollars every month. You don't really see that on Walmart, and I think it's because the average consumer, I don't think they even think Walmart sells online. You know what I mean? Like everyone just runs to Amazon. So until Walmart really starts propelling their online selling platform, there may not be a saturation to that extent in 2 years. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But I do think social media has a big play in that. Like if more influencers start creating courses and try to flex that selling on Walmart got me this Lamborghini, things of that nature. They start seeing that more often. It'll just have this halo effect of more sellers coming in. And I've yet to see that mainly because I think Amazon is just an easier sell to these like gurus.
Yeah, and think about it too. Like just getting an LLC almost adds a higher bar.
Right. Right. And Amazon, I think it's pretty easy to get in. as long as you have the LLC, but Walmart does take into account some sort of history, which a new seller might not have, right? Um, so if I was a new seller who hasn't even sold on Amazon before and I'm just wanting to start selling on Walmart, would you think it's reasonable if someone had, starting off with $1,000, $500? What would you think is like a minimum required investment before starting selling Walmart?
Yeah, I think when I started selling on Walmart, I mean, I was really lucky just because when I opened my LLC, I had good enough credit to get some business line, like business credit cards. But maybe I had only like 2 grand liquid. So depending on how you play it, like Walmart's payouts do hit quite a bit quicker.
Okay.
But if
It takes a
you're,
while. It takes a while for those the payouts to come fast.
yeah, yeah. So, or I guess when you first sign up with Walmart, they do hold it for a minute, but
Yeah.
after that, you do get them quick. Um, I would. It's so hard, maybe 10 grand. Maybe back in the day, like 2, 3 years ago, when things were just selling a lot faster and a lot more. I'd say
Hmm.
you can get away with a lower budget. But
Hmm.
right now, like the market's just getting more competitive, and if you don't got the money to spend, you're going to be working really hard for a little return.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what your goals are too. If you're just trying to make like, I don't know, an extra 500 a month or something like that, and especially during this time where there's so much things that have high return, you could probably get away with starting with like a grand or 2 grand if your goal is just to make an extra few hundred, right? But if you're trying to scale to the extent that you've scaled, yeah, much larger investment would have to be required for sure. Okay, so speaking of which, what do you think was probably okay when you first started selling on Amazon? I keep saying Amazon. I'm so used to Amazon interviews. When you first started selling on Walmart, okay, you started seeing that this was working. You were selling a decent margin, decent sales revenue. What do you think was that key element for you to go from 0 to 20K a month, and then 20K to 50K a month, and then scaling to that extent?
Yeah, when I got on, it was like November 17th. So I'm like getting on in Q4. So that
Mm,
automatically,
that's great. Yeah.
yeah, that was my edge, right? I got on at the right time. So it wasn't even an issue. I think when I first got on, the issue was that Walmart's listings were so buggy that half the stuff I was buying probably wasn't getting sold just because I was having such a hard time listing it.
Right. Right.
Um, but I think the biggest advantage, or at least you could getting on Walmart, is just getting in with someone that is already doing some sort of numbers. Like, unless you have the luxury of kind of doing what you're doing, if you're just focusing solely on Walmart, like I'm all for, mentorships or something.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I guess as it pertains to just selling in general, I think one of the key elements for me was just finding something that works and then sticking with it and going deep on it. I know a lot of people like to advocate just going wide, but I think if you're brand new selling on any kind of platform, whether it's Walmart or Amazon, you see like a product doing well within a category, just go hard on that one specific category before just going wide. I think that's a luxury, especially for someone maybe who has more money, but with some selling experience as well. So just
Yeah,
my
I
2 cents.
guess
Yeah, go ahead.
no, yeah, for sure. I guess that's probably why I was like instantly attracted towards toys, getting on in Q4, having the most success with the toys. So
Yeah,
that's probably the whole reason behind that category.
yeah, because it sounds like you saw success with toys and you just dove harder into that, and it speaks to Walmart too because there's so many toys on clearance at Walmart, so it's probably easier for you to go that route anyways. Um, but for me, when I started selling on Amazon, naturally I started with shoes, and I was so familiar with different kinds of shoes. I just went harder and harder and deeper in just shoes before I finally started branching out. Because at that point, I was comfortable. I knew how to sell. I saw sales coming in, and it kind of gave me the confidence to start kind of branching out and going wider. So I would imagine that might be the same concept with Walmart. Um, but for me, again, I'm just selling what's working on Amazon. It's working for me. Maybe there'll come a time where I will maybe try to scale more on Walmart. But maybe next year, if the saturation and these whole Section 3 stuff's going on Amazon as much as it's going, I might just move all over to Walmart. We'll see. Um,
Yeah,
okay, so if again going back to a new seller because a lot of these people are watching, more than likely they are either transitioning from Amazon or brand new to Walmart. What do you think are a few pieces of information they should focus on?
Yeah. Um, I would definitely just do your research right, dive into, like you're saying, the categories that you think might sell or are selling for you. And then also, one of the biggest things that we kind of touched on quickly was the payment holds when you first sign up.
Hmm.
I think they vary a little bit. They in their like verbiage, it says like if you sell over, I think it's like 10,000 or something, you can get your payments earlier than that, like 90-day window or whatever it is, 60-day window.
Yeah.
But if you let's say you get on and like for me, I went from like no sales and I think I did maybe like 50K that first Q4 on Walmart. I actually experienced like a longer payment hold due to the like being a new seller and then having like an influx of sales. So
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think like I got on November maybe 17th and I don't think I got like the bulk of my payment until like mid-January.
Oh wow. See, I was lured into Walmart because I saw a post about daily payouts, and I was like, wow, daily payouts immediately. I signed up and I started selling January of this year on Walmart. And it wasn't until now, mind you, I was selling pretty well. Like it wasn't, hundreds of units, but I was selling at least 40 to 50 units a month. And I didn't have any issues. My reviews, my performance was good. But I don't think I was actually getting those quicker payouts until damn near June or July. I don't know why it took that long.
Yeah,
You know?
no. I had a few instances where, and maybe mine too, like maybe a metric fell under what it was supposed to be. And so I had a couple payment holds hit me like throughout my first year that were pretty inconvenient. But yeah, but now it's like anything that sells within that 2 week payment period, like I'm getting on that payment day, whatever, like Tuesday.
So okay, so if for a brand new seller on Walmart and Amazon, it sounds like if they wanted to even sell toys, they would have to get ungated. So what would be a category that you would recommend new sellers selling on Walmart?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the toys actually don't need ungated. Maybe like the big brands, Disney, Lego, but like there is
Okay.
a lot of toys that fall in the cracks. Otherwise, I mean, I would just focus on whatever you can, whether that's, maybe I've been seeing a lot of good like maybe laundry detergents or
Mhm.
like home and household stuff at Ollie's that you can flip pretty easily. Like I don't think you need ungated for. Yeah, off the top of my head, I think like those two are probably going to be the easiest just because Walmarts are everywhere and, Ollie's seem to be pretty prevalent.
Yeah, and I think that's a misconception with Amazon too. A lot of people don't even start selling on Amazon because they think everything's gated. I would imagine it's the same. Oops. I would imagine it's the same thing with Walmart, where you come on there and you think everything's gated. Now there is a lot of things that are gated, like you said, the big name brands like Legos, but there's a lot of other smaller toy brands. I'm not sure if Hasbro is still pretty big. I don't know if you have to get ungated for Hasbro's, Mattel. Uh,
Yeah.
you probably have to get ungated for Barbie, but there is just so many of these like smaller toy brands that you're already automatically ungated for. And like you said, like office supplies, home improvement stuff, those are always in demand, especially Walmart. I feel like Walmart is like probably the go-to that consumers might go to for those kinds of boring items, right? So, and they're probably profitable too. So, okay. So on my, during my selling journey, despite the platform, I've had instances of really tumultuous situations like inauthenticity violations. I've had brands that got gated, and I've had mass amount of units where they have to send it back, and a really stressful situation. So, what would you say is probably your number one most tumultuous or stressful time that you've had selling on a Walmart?
Yeah. I'm probably, that first stretch where I couldn't get my money out, that payment hold. But otherwise for like products, I mean, it really hasn't been that bad as far as like having to get an entire SKU removed or something. I think the most like the first time I've ever sent something in and then had it like locked down on me was maybe the Miss Rachel dolls. I think I sent in like 80 or 90 of them and then they partnered with Walmart and so third party
Oh,
sellers can't be on that anymore.
so okay, so it got hard gated essentially. So that's been
Yeah.
happening on Walmart as well.
That seems to be happening quite a bit with like beauty products, I think. But for toys, like that was the first toy I've really had that experience with.
So again, on Amazon, there's been a plethora of toys and sorry brands getting hard gated, especially with Q4 upcoming. I always thought that brands were trying to stay away from selling on Amazon because they feel like if customers buy on their website, it creates this deeper connection and there's some brand trust and whatnot. And if they sell on Amazon, they kind of lose that connection with the consumer. it sounds like they tossed that away in the last few months here, and all of them are just saying, "Screw it, we'll just sell on Amazon because we're tired of resellers profiting. We might as well profit." So you've been seeing more and more of that on Walmart as well. To what extent have you been seeing it on Walmart this year?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen a few emails about beauty brands. But as far as like something that's directly affected me, like out of all the hard gates, like I've probably only noticed like the one, like I mentioned. It definitely raises the question though, like the longevity of some of the items or the risk factors. You know, it definitely seems like 2, 3 years ago, it was pretty low risk because you weren't seeing Section 3s, you weren't getting hard gated on a lot of things. And as of recently, it's definitely been sort of a perspective shift on, okay, like ecom is forever for sure, but like, you know, and OA is probably never going to die, obviously, but being a little bit more risk adverse there is going to be an issue a lot for new sellers.
So can you name just off the top of your head? Can you think of any brands that you can just say now that new sellers or just sellers in general would avoid because they are hard gated?
Yeah, so anything that's partnered with Walmart, so like Adventure Force, you know, maybe that's like the Great Value brand. Anything partnered with Walmart, and then for like some of the beauty products, I think they hard gated maybe like it's a 10 or something. I
Okay.
really should probably do a better job paying attention to the brands, but
There's I can't think of Charlotte Tilbury. I don't even know how to say the last name. Charlotte, whatever. Damn, I can't think of. I've had so many. I have so many beauty brands that got removed. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Oh, NARS, things like that that got hard gated on Amazon. I don't think they're as of yet hard gated on Walmart. I've been able to list Laura Mercier, those beauty brands. I think Laura Mercier might have. You just got to check, I guess. But a lot of the known brands on Walmart, the beauty brands, you can still sell most of them on Walmart. So if you're new coming on to Walmart from Amazon, more than likely you can still sell it. But obviously there's some exceptions to that. Okay, so I do want to ask, as it pertains to merchant fulfilling and sending it to Walmart fulfillment centers. Um, on Amazon, you can send it into the Walmart fulfillment center and it'll ship at a higher price. With Walmart, do you at least, I know the buy box rotation doesn't really exist. It's still the lowest selling price, but when you send in an X amount of units to a WFS, do you see a higher number of sales per day as opposed to if you were on the sell them merchant fulfilled?
so I'm probably like the worst person to ask that just because I really dislike FBM. I'm lazy, whatever. So I send everything WFS. Um, I would say that it does sell better, and you can get the buy box slightly higher than a seller fulfilled person.
Hmm.
But as far as like the exact numbers, like I don't have them just because I'm lazy. Send everything to WFS.
Yeah, I mean, you send everything to prep center, right? So it, I haven't gotten to the point where I send something, I buy something with the full intentions of sending it to Walmart. So everything that goes to my prep center, it's going to Amazon. But like I said, the things that I merchant fulfill, I'll dual list them, and I still see a decent sales velocity with Walmart, but I'm not the best again either to give you a real data point on how much better WFS could have been, other than that bad experience I told you a month ago, which probably isn't the best picture to paint for WFS. I have heard that they sell pretty well if you send it into the Walmart for the fulfillment center. So
Yeah,
so sending it, since you have a lot of experience sending it to the fulfillment centers, what have been key issues sending it there? Despite, there's obviously benefits. I'm sure you get higher sales velocity sending it to the fulfillment center, but what have been some issues you faced?
yeah. I mean, obviously, like sell through is a huge issue, and if you're not watching it, like it'll really bite you. So usually I try to work with like 60 or 90-day storage fees when I'm sourcing a product, and I just
Okay.
assume it's going to take a little bit of time to sell.
Okay.
Um, Otherwise, I've been kind of in the niche enough that if I see something on sale for whatever price, I can usually guess pretty accurately how well it's going to sell, or that I'm okay with sitting it for like that 90-day time frame.
Mhm.
Um, I'd say sell through is probably like the biggest concern, really. And then also, watching your WFS fees. I've had times where me and my buddy have been sitting down and just going through our WFS fees for the same items. And for instance, like there was a Nerf gun, he was getting charged like $40 for WFS, and I was maybe like 7. And so he had to go through and
Oh
get
wow.
reimbursed for all that.
Dang. So there was a disparity between y'all two. I thought maybe they were just giving him a crazy shipping fee, but it sounds like they weren't giving you one. So that's odd.
Yeah. And even my admin, he's got me back like $500 or $600 before just finding a couple errors. It's hard to know for sure unless you're running it through like maybe the WFS calculator on Walmart. I think there's like a separate site for it, or comparing it with someone else's, but you definitely got to watch those.
So I have my virtual assistants who will source for me, but more importantly, they save me a lot of time with admin stuff. Like they'll input the cost of goods onto Sellerboard. I use Sellerboard for most of my bookkeeping stuff. Well, my own personal bookkeeping. I have a bookkeeper who does the actual bookkeeping itself. But as far as Walmart goes, what was that? What was that software that you said you used,
There was
or is it just
I
an
think
actual
it was just
bookkeeper?
Repricer. I think I use an actual. So I have an admin, and we do like everything spreadsheet based.
Okay.
I think there's Profit Cyclops, which is one I'm testing, and it does seem pretty good as of right now. But a lot of these tools you got to be careful with, just because they're like Walmart seems super stingy with the data they give and
Right.
the frequency of it. So there's a lot of
What sucks is like seller. Are you familiar with Sellerboard?
yeah.
So I don't even you can't even integrate Sellerboard with Walmart. So what's annoying is I feel bad. I mean, I don't feel bad, but my virtual assistant has to input them manually one by one, and I don't do that many SKUs anyway, so it's not a big deal to him. But it's surprises me that Sellerboard doesn't have Walmart integration yet. So I was hoping maybe you had so all the SKUs that you sell, you just have your admin essentially record all that information, right?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's a huge time sink.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Profit Cyclops, that is probably the closest fix to the solution,
Okay.
or fix to the problem or whatever. It's like I think it's maybe $1.99 first month and $40 after.
Okay.
I would definitely check that out for anyone that needs something like that. But like I said, just in case it misses anything, I would at least double check once your item sells at WFS or whatever. Like check the fees as far as commission or WFS goes, because both change pretty frequently.
Interesting. Okay, so what other do you have any other tasks that you kind of outsource to your virtual assistant outside of just bookkeeping?
Yeah, they do all the listing for me. They do pretty much all my cases for me.
Yes.
I've gotten pretty lucky. I have some guys that are obviously pretty dedicated, hard worker, consistent, so I can outsource all that important stuff to them. And then I also even will outsource maybe like you you can do like check target stock or do like pickup orders and stuff, and some of them will help me with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to the point because I've been selling for a few years now where I have a pretty large range of data for replans and items to sell. So now, like the most beneficial thing for me for my virtual assistants are literally the admin stuff. Like if I get an IP complaint or an authenticity complaint, they've submitted so many appeals to this point, it's second nature to them. And then the bookkeeping they take care of because I think the first few months I wasn't even keeping track of my profit. And then once you start actually doing that, you can actually make corrective actions to what you're doing and how to improve your profitability. So like all the admin work, as much as people are looking for like that gold mine of leads generation virtual assistant, it's really the ones that are really good taking care of those nuanced things in a business that really are beneficial. So that's awesome that you have it's a system of VAs that take care of that because that truly is a time saver. Okay,
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and so many people are wanting to outsource like leads, and leads are like pretty easy to come up with if you at least can sit down and stay consistent searching. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, and maybe the admin work on Amazon isn't nearly as intense as Walmart, but like with Walmart, you're gonna have to do stuff every night probably, just because it seems like every night they're gonna throw a dart at a board and that item's getting unpublished, whether it's for pricing or some sort of random error.
I will say it's a damn same on Amazon. That's why you got to have some virtual assistants or some sort of team, or else you'll be the one doing bulk of it, and it's just not there's not a good return on that time. You might as well outsource that information. And again, like I still back to what you're saying. I feel like people are still always looking for a virtual system that'll essentially do the work for them. If you're looking for a VA like that, first of all, they're probably not on the market because no one's going to let go of someone like that. And B, you need to teach them how to source, and you can't teach them if you already don't know how to source. So don't expect the VA to just run your business. That's not how it's going to work. If you teach them and you keep them and you train them and you invest time into them, they'll get there. Because my two VAs 2 years ago, they weren't the best sourcers, but now they know how to source, they know how to do all the admin stuff, and it's because I've kept them, I've been consistent with them, and I've trained them a lot and been patient with them, and now they're really what makes my business go. So
Yeah, and I think too, it's one of the biggest mistakes when getting on like online jobs at PH is when you. It's so funny. You make your posting, you're like Amazon sourcing, whatever,
yeah,
and you get all like thousands of applications probably, and like you vet through all of them, and asking like the simplest questions is like, okay, no one knows.
no one knows, despite their 8 years of selling. I've had some people. I've had interviews with some virtual assistants, and again, I know they have to put that kind of stuff because they're literally competing with thousands of other resumes, and theirs has to stand out, obviously. So they have to at least put that so they'll get an interview. But some of the things, like, I'll ask them, and like you said, they don't even know how to answer the simplest things, like, what are some red flags on a listing of why I may not sell there? And all I'm looking for is sellers on the listing or something of that nature, and they kind of blank out. And one time I even asked the one of the interviewees, why did you leave your old seller that you've been selling for the last 8 years? And you just flat out, oh, he passed away. It's like it's just like I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to that, but at least make your lie a little bit better. Like, just say like his account got deactivated or something of that nature.
Yeah,
That one
yeah.
threw me off. I'll never forget that one. Okay,
Um,
so okay, just some concluding questions here. In 2025, do you think Walmart will still be a lucrative business to new sellers?
yeah, I mean, if you can get past the caveats of payment holds and whatever, definitely. Obviously, it's getting less profitable the more sellers get on, and you just got to get your edge and niche down on whatever that is.
Okay. Okay. Um, Knowing all the information that you know now, and I know you kind of alluded to it earlier, do you think someone who just starts selling in a Walmart, they can at least still start with $1,000?
Yeah, I mean, if you get on at the right time, definitely. But like, sell through is a huge issue, and even if you got a low price point on all your items, that 1,000 could be really hard to work with. Um, and I just think like going back, it's so much harder now to like do this with a low budget when you got no cost alternatives, maybe like TikTok shop or like, if you're okay with being behind a camera, like I'd do that first.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, TikTok shop affiliate and all that is getting lucrative. And there's so many different ways and platforms to make money now in 2025 coming up. Why sell yourself short? But with the $1,000 concept, you're saying it might be difficult because it takes so long to flip that money, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless you've got someone that you can kind of, piggyback off of that has more money and that's already kind of invested widely, that maybe
Mhm.
is passing you some leads, like sure. But like if you're a brand new seller, like you're not on Amazon, but you have $1,000 getting on Walmart, like the first thing I do is make best friends with someone that's already selling.
Yeah. Or just, make yourself an Instagram, make yourself a Twitter, some sort of account where you're going to be just talking and explaining about Walmart selling, Amazon selling, and follow people that you can follow their info and tips. And that would definitely help exponentially, that rather than just doing it on your own and finding out how to do things the hard way. It always been, I didn't realize when I first started selling period on online platforms that there was such a huge community of online sellers. Like, again, like, we come from sneakers and sneaker botting. There was a huge community with that, right? So when I first started selling on Amazon, I had to kind of look for it. I didn't know it existed. And someone who's watching this who hasn't sold on neither Walmart or Amazon or Walmart, there's huge communities for both of those selling platforms. So just make an account with the full purpose of just posting Walmart or Amazon or online selling information, and you're gonna Instagram will spitfire all these people you should follow and just follow all of them and take their advice, So,
Yeah,
okay.
and I mean, yeah, I was just gonna say, and there's definitely something too. Like, even if you're just documenting the journey, right? Like, a lot of times
Yeah.
people are thinking like you're posting to flex or whatever, but like when I got on TikTok and was like doing the sneaker botting stuff, like even though a lot of the time I was failing miserably, but like it did connect me with a lot of good people and
Yeah.
the guy that mentored me for Walmart. So kind of crazy what can happen.
Yeah, it's again, we're just kind of explaining networking, and you're not going to be able to network without knowing anyone, especially with online. If you're doing all online business, you're not going to meet anyone physically. You got to meet them online first. So definitely make an account, despite whatever platform. There's a community out there that'll help you rather than just selling on your own. You don't have to post tips, like you said. Just post things about your journey. You packing up boxes, sending shipments in, things of that nature. You'll be able to relate with other sellers and kind of be a part of the community, and I'll overall help you succeed. All right, Walker, I appreciate it. I want to see if you can just drop your socials and anything else that you're kind of promoting, anything of that nature.
Yeah, so Walker Resell on all the socials. We do have a Walmart Q4 leads group, but I think we might have closed the doors just going into November on that. But
Okay.
maybe in Q1 we might have it going again.
So leads group. So is it a Discord group or what?
Yeah, so we partnered with the Buy Box Discord. So you'll get access to, right now we're doing 8 leads a day, 5 days a week. You get access to the Discord, Flip Alert, and obviously some good mentorship.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you partnered with them. I didn't know that. I saw something where you had some sort of affiliation with them, but so now you're the ones that are providing the leads for Walmart, respectively, in their group.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, so it is more of an exclusive program. So obviously the entire Buy Box community doesn't get it.
mhm.
But Chaz, the guy that mentored me on Walmart, and myself we're posting them.
Okay. So you have to join. What's the group called? The Buy
Yeah, so
Box.
if you guys, yeah, the Buy Box.
So you join once you join the Buy Box, then you can upgrade, I guess, to get Walmart leads from you guys. What you're saying?
Yep, and it is closed right now, I believe, but
Okay.
Q1 we might open it back up.
Okay. Oh, cool. That's awesome. I did not know that. Okay. Yeah, I definitely encourage y'all to follow Walker. A lot of inspiring stuff. I mean, he's getting all these like hauls and stuff, and I'm just like, damn. That's why I started getting FOMO. I'm like, should I be going all in on Walmart? Am I doing myself a disservice not going all in like Walker? So definitely follow him. Um, anyways, Walker, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was useful to y'all, and we will see you guys on the next video.